All right. So I wanted to real quick have a just a brief conversation, right? Relative to priorities um, for us as a people. And to be completely honest, again, I speak directly to mine. However, if those words that I say are true, then they'll withstand 360 degrees of scrutiny and they will remain true, right? If a thing is true, then it will maintain scrutiny and integrity through that scrutiny, right? So if it's true for us, it must be true for everyone else, right? Or it can't be called true, right? Okay. So conversation about priority, priority. All right. Unfortunately, our talkers, our most affluent in our society, right? The most affluent in our society would direct your attention towards trying to get where they are, right? They will try to tell you that you should, and they'll coach you, right? Look how many things you've got on Facebook where people are coaching you relative to how to get the bag, right? How to go and get this bag, right? Um, and they're showing you and everything that you see, it's not just us, it's everyone, right? They're all showing you marketing strategies and SEOs and how to do all of these different things and use the algorithms in order to be able to get yourself out there. Because getting yourself out there equates to getting the bag, right? I saw somebody put a post up this today that said she praised Kevin Samuels. I don't know who this dude is. I still don't know who this dude is, right? Never heard of him, never seen him, don't know who he is. But I've seen everybody posting about him, right? I've seen all the talkers talking about him, right? And I seen this woman post something and she said, all of y'all are mad because he's successful and he's successful because he got y'all talking about him. And I watched. This thread was like hundreds of people all agreeing that's right, he's got the bag, he's going to get the bag. Well, let me ask you something. If the most wealthy man on the planet has a power outage, what good is the money that he has? Hmm? So in Texas a couple months ago there was a freak winter storm and people were burning money to stay warm. They were buying bottled water because in the power outage, your toilets don't flush. So they were buying bottled water to flush their toilets in order to maintain a sanitary condition. So, in a simple power outage, what good is the money? What good is $1 billion? What does it do for you? What do you need at that point? At the point of an event, what is it that you will need in order to survive for 72 hours? All the money in the world doesn't matter, right? It's at that point that the rich man and the poor man are reduced to needing the exact same things, right? So, as long as your value system is owned by a man or a people that benefit from your being able to define value for yourself, then you will always be a captive to that people. Okay. I'll repeat that. As long as your value system is owned by someone who has a direct benefit that you're unable to define value absent him, then you will always be subservient to him. Okay. So the real issue is the focus, right? Those who we consider to be the most successful, the wealthy, right? The affluent, right? The Jay-Z's and the Oprahs and the big money players, right? These people, they smile and they're actors, right? They're all actors. Everything, what you see on TV, I don't know whether or not anybody ever told you this, but what you see on TV isn't real. like it's an act for you, right? They're paid liars, right? And what they're doing is they've gotten to rub elbows with billionaires because they got a billion, right? And because they got a billion, white supremacy has been highly enriched from that earning, from their getting to that place. Yeah, the only way that they got to that place was every day, every penny, everything that they did, they enriched white supremacy. Okay? So when they got to that place, they got to rub elbows with, and they get to rub elbows with some of the richest people on the planet Earth, right? And that's awesome. However, in doing so, they will turn around and they will keep you chasing at a golden carrot as the goal, right? And so you've got millions and millions of our people walking around talking about the bag. All they can think about, right, is the bag. Currency was produced on April 7th, 1792. Currency on this continent was produced April 7th, 1792, right? Prior to that, there was no currency. It was given value through breeding our innocent families, starting at the age of 13 until they could no longer reproduce. And their children, their offspring, was the capital in capitalism, right? Their children were the capital in capitalism. It is through this that their currency established value, and the rest is history. You now have an economy which was all predicated on blood and on horror. And today, we thirst it. So, what are the avenues allowed to us, right? What are the most common avenues that we use in order to be able to achieve or get this bag, right? Our most common avenues are singing and dancing and smiling and shucking and jiving and dribbling and dunking and basically entertaining another man as a means to attain this bag. So at the end of the day, it's compromise. And in this level of compromise, there's the question that's unasked, which is, well, if if money is the goal, how much to sell your mother? How much to sell your brother? How much? What's your price? If the bag is what is completely relevant, nothing is as relevant as obtaining that bag. What won't you do? What won't you do? Further, let's consider it. If we saw in Texas that the power went out, simple power outage, right? That the power went out and people were burning the money that they had amassed in order to stay warm, what's really relevant? What was more important in that equation? If they're burning money to stay warm, which of those is more relevant? Would they die without the money? Will they die without the heat? This isn't rocket science, you know? This isn't rocket science. Will you die without money? Will you die without water? So which is more important? But every unit of currency that we work for, almost every penny we ever work for, we will give to white supremacy to provide for ourselves food, clothing, shelter, water, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, and utilities. Every dime we get, we're going to give to them for the essential needs. Now, how did you make a slave? A slave was made by controlling every essential need that a human had, making them completely dependent upon another man, kind of like a child is dependent on a parent, right? That's how a slave was made. And bringing them to a foreign land where they couldn't run anywhere lest they find greater danger, again, produced a captive audience. It was an enterprise, okay? So when slavery ended, they had placed anti-vagrancy laws on the books that said that if you left or you were found outside with less than $3 in your pocket and no identification, then you could be arrested for vagrancy. And so the result or the manifestation of that is that as soon as the Emancipation Proclamation was utilized by the people, they would step off. The constable would find them. They didn't have $3. They didn't have ID. And they would take them to jail. And then they would rent them back to that slave owner at cost. So what happened was the slave owner had previously taken care of the costs associated with food, clothing, shelter, water, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, as it might have been, and any utilities. All of those things were managed by the slave master. When he then lost the ability to hold slaves in the Emancipation Proclamation, one of his chief threats was, I don't know how you gonna make it. You ain't got no job. Ain't no one gonna hire you. How you gonna get water? How you gonna get food? How you gonna take care of your family? Right? How you gonna do that, Uncle Ben? Right? So, and it was a very valid question because as I was journeyed outward, there was no friends, right? There was no help for them. So we then moved in and settled into these different places, which we call our community. Now, the truth is that we'd settled in other areas and we had spread out and gone our different ways. But as hatred, disconnection, and apathy were found in these different places, we gathered. We ended up gathering and concentrating in specific areas, right? So we were forced into these places. And today we call these places our communities, right? And your most intelligent leaders, your intelligent politicians, your most wealthy, right? They all have these plans and they talk about these things like buy the block, right? But here's what the problem is. Here's what the problem is. If I buy the block, right? And I may well can. I might be able to buy the block, the block, right? Awesome. I buy the block. First of all, I bought it from someone. Yeah. Okay. So they got enriched, right? Okay. But even if I buy the block, will I still have to pay taxes on that? So here's what has happened in American history. I buy the block. I own it. I improve it. It's awesome. Everybody loves it. I die. My children now own the block. They inherit this, and it's a big tax burden. They can't afford the taxes on the block. The block gets lost, and it goes right back to the company store. And so then their children are born into this condition, and they realize and they come to this conclusion, you know what we need to do? We need to buy the block. And so they very well may do so. They'll work hard and they'll buy the block. Awesome. They've got the block. Now, again, once they die, taxes remain. So their children lose the block, right? And they lose it back to the original seller, right? Right back to the company store, okay? And so their children grow up and they come to this conclusion that the best thing that they should do, the best thing that they could do is buy the block. And I'm telling you, this has happened over and over and over and over and over and over in American history. And each generation doesn't see that, right? They don't recognize that this is how it has happened. And so each generation wastes their lives, their energies doing the same damn thing. And the only thing that they are actually doing is enhancing white supremacy and making it stronger and affording themselves temporary comfort, putting on bright peacock feathers and walking around among each other and telling the world how great they are because they've done what they've done. But in fact, they have gone very short distance. And the level of loss, see, you've augmented the system. We feed a beast because a beast feeds us. So we've augmented the system and made it stronger, and it's evolving and morphing, but yet we're still using the same old playbook. We're doing the same thing to it and expecting that a system that is evolving, we're going to be able to win. Now let's look at that for a second. Currency was produced on April 7th, 1792, right? Given value by breeding innocent human beings, our families. Okay. They print the currency, they control the interest rate. If I take a single $20 denomination and I give it to you, I claim that, right? I earned it. It's been showed on my taxes that I received that money. I give it to you. I've got to claim it. I'm going to pay for that money. You're going to pay for that money, right? And so every denomination of money that I should use or exchange, they make a fraction of every single time I use it. They get a fraction just because I touch their money, right? Mathematically, I don't care if it's Dr. this or Dr. Seuss or Dr. the other one. I don't care who it is. Mathematically, if somebody prints the currency, controls the interest rate, and without doing a thing, takes a fraction from every single transaction that you ever do, you could live and your people could live 1,000,000,000 years under that construct and you would never win. It is mathematically impossible, right? Again, we got our talkers, our doctors, our leaders, our journalists, our politicians, and they all want comfort under white supremacy, and none of them want to be free of white supremacy. So they give white supremacy its due, right? And while you think they're revolutionary because they say words like Marcus Garvey, because you think that they are, champions of justice. They took a knee. Yeah, they're ready to beg and ask somebody to do what? Look, there's a man that is currently producing and providing for you water, food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, security, education, sanitation, and utilities. You've got a gas shortage today, huh? If he falls down, you the one bleeding. Why? Why? Because you are completely dependent upon him for your essential needs. Now, if every dollar that you get, you are going to exchange for those essential needs, please, again, you can shout it out if you know it. What's of value, the dollar or the essential need? Which? Which? These are the things your leaders won't say. You know why? Again, it puts a wrinkle in their hustle to tell you the truth. It puts a wrinkle in their hustle to tell you the truth, that there is actually an answer to every equation. As long as you have defined the integers correctly, there is a perfect answer, and it will prove itself over and over again. Every single equation. But if you don't define the integers within the equation, then you can never come to an appropriate conclusion. You'll come to 1,000 different answers, and none of them will actually be true. First, you must begin with a clear definition. Okay? The bag, chasing the bag, I'm telling you, look at us as a people. Look, how many of our most wealthy, right? Our most influential, our most loved, how many of them died in a way that was normal, right? How many of them died in a way where you saw the direct impact of their family, of their estates and the wealth that they produced trickle down to their families? Who? Prince Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye. Who? Who? Sam Cooke. Like, we can go through history. Don Cornelius. Like, we can go through history and we can look at all of these uber wealthy celebrities and we can say without any ambiguity, none of them. None of them. And guess what? They sang, they danced, they did their thing, right? They amassed all that money. Where's it at? White supremacy got it. Guess what? If I make $1 billion, right? If I make $1 billion, I'm going to rub elbows with those people that have that kind of money. And I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to be invited to places that you're not. I'm going to be able to do things that you can't. I'm going to be able to go places and afford things that I can't, that everyone else can't. I'm going to enjoy temporary comfort based on what I have done, right? But guess what else I have done? I have made the steel trap stronger for those that didn't make $1 billion. So yeah, it's great for me. I'm feeling awesome. I can, shit, Louis the 13th, right? I'm pouring out a little liquor with Louis the 13th. I can do all of that, right? Awesome. It's great for me. I'm not feeling the pain that you are. You are the stakeholder. See, in every company, you got a shareholder and you got a stakeholder. See, the shareholder makes a benefit on the company, right? On the corporation. They make a benefit. The stakeholder is the one that holds the stakes, the one that will take the pain, right? That's who we are, the stakeholder, not the shareholder. So even your Oprah's, is she a shareholder? No, no. And she doesn't want to be free. She doesn't want to be free. She wants to continue with the comfort that she has afforded herself. So in doing so, she will lie. She'll go on TV. She'll give you her book club. She'll make it so normal. The abhorrent condition, the absolute abnormal condition that we live in, they make normal. Your D.L. Hughley's, your talkers and peacocks, they make it normal so that what resonates and is on the lips of my people is, oh, the bag. Ooh, these algorithms, I got to get known. Like me, validate me. This is how they seek to get somewhere. They want to show their ass. They want to be the most colorful fucking peacock they can, per chance, to get out of the condition that they're in. And this is appropriate. Is there another people on the planet Earth that are entertainers and minstrels, and that's what they aspire to be in order to be able to change their condition? What kind of a broken, it is brokenness that you cannot define for yourself. The instruments of your oppression, those things that are of value, the fact that another man owns and operates your value system ensures that that other man will forever benefit until you can redefine it for yourself. I waste my time, man. I say these, I come on and I share these videos and I talk and I speak, right? But guess what? I'm repeating what Malcolm X said. If you didn't hear that man, who the fuck am I, right? If you didn't take the time, you got a Malcolm X search. Oh yeah, that's awesome. You got a Malcolm X ring and shit. You got all the you sent away from the kit, right? You got the kit from China. You got the whole Malcolm X kit. Yeah. But if you didn't listen to what he said then everything that I'm saying don't make no damn sense, right? If you didn't actually listen to that man, everything I'm saying makes no sense. If you didn't, I shared a video the other day with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali said in this video, well, what if your gas runs out again? He actually said that. What if your gas runs out again? I want my own. Why do I always got to be at your table begging for yours? You own the airports, you own the everything, and all I can do is be a leech on a dog's ass. I can't have my own. What's the matter with me having my own? Huh? What if your supply chains fail? What if your sanitation systems fail? What if your water filtration systems fail? What if those things fail? What do? What do we do? Flint, Michigan still don't have clean water. What are you doing, Black America? You talking, looking for the fucking bag, man. looking for the bag. You talking. Flint, Michigan still don't have clean water. And you still can't see priority? The bag? What you gonna do with the bag? See? Because by the time you get the bag, you're so lost, you're so twisted up in this shit, you won't even think about Flint, Michigan, and them babies that are drinking lead-filled water. You won't even think about them again, right? Just like Oprah. Oprah could, you don't think Oprah could solve that? You don't think Oprah could solve that problem right there? You don't think Jay-Z could solve that problem right there? How come you don't? How come they don't? See, again, if one of your little pimp leaders actually told you the solution, they would be out of a hustle, right? They would be out of a hustle. So all of them are pimps. That's what they are. And they're not even, right? They're underboss pimps because the real pimp is pimping them. And they're then telling you what they want to be shown. So we don't have an understanding of what are the things that are holding us in state. We can't identify the instruments of our oppression. And so therefore, anything that anybody says sounds great. Yeah, we need to vote. That's going to change it. We need to open up a school. Yeah, that's going to change it. What happens if you open up a school and their water systems fail? Everything that we're planning assumes white supremacy is just always going to be there, right? They'll just always be there, right? What if their water systems fail? Then what? Now your kids are drinking poison water. They have to drink the water or they die in 72 hours. What then? What if the sanitation system fails? What if the supply chains fail? What if their utilities fail? What if any number of critical elements in this society fails, right? And then your logical mind says, well, it ain't gonna fail. Well, guess what that is? That's, I trust white supremacy. It can't fail. They're infallible. They'll always be there. The water's always gonna work. It's always gonna be clean. It's like opening the refrigerator. The lights go out and on. It's magic, right? It's always going to be there. And so your leaders that are talking about opening the school, they're counting on white supremacy. And if white supremacy should fail, then their plans fail. How fucking sophomoric is this? If white supremacy fails, your school fails. HBCU sounds great. Love your letters. Dependent on and keeping white supremacy strong, right? By the block, great, as long as white supremacy is in place. Chase the bag, that's right. It's gonna work, and it worked right up until Texas ran out of power. Then what mattered? And so the problem is that the bar has been so far lowered that nobody speaks critical. Nobody speaks the actual truth. The bar's been lowered our whole lives. Oh, very good, Jamal. That was awesome. You did great. So that you don't have to try harder. You don't have to critically think. You don't have to create definitions that are clear. You don't have to communicate, right? All you got to do is say woke words. You know what I'm saying? Sound good. Repeat words that sound right. You know what I'm saying? That everybody can agree with. That's what you do, right? That's all you do. The slang that you hear the children speaking today, yeah, the slang that we used to speak came from us. That was our language, right? We developed it. Guess who's developing the slang that they're talking right now? White executives. And ours don't know it because they're eaten, they're consumed by the machine. So they don't know it. The slang has no basis, just like their music. See, when we were making music, our music spoke about love. Go back. Go back. Our music spoke about love, feelings, our girl creeping out the back door with our dude. Our music had real world application. You know what they were singing about? What does the what was that? What does the cow say? What does the, yeah, there is no connection, right? They don't, it's not the same. But these are the ones that you're following. I said it today. These folk ain't washed their hands since the Middle Ages, yet they control your water. They control your food. They control the education that is fed your children's mind. They control the standards by which education will be provided here. They control the currency, the jobs. They control the healthcare. They control all of these things. And all of your leaders stand around talking about bullshit. Not one of them ever has a plan to ever be free, ever. And as long as your value system is owned by them, yeah, man, somebody can come up with more money and they take your wife. If your wife, if your family is so focused on the bag, on money, guess what? I can make an indecent proposal to them. There is no, they do not have the conviction to say that no amount of money would ever change me. No, somebody could flash something. They're focused on the bag. That's the goal. That's the golden carrot. They focused on the bag and not what the bag buys. The bag is an intermediary, which allows you to control your own water, your food, your clothing, your shelter over a period of time. That is what wealth is, able to live over a period of time. In order to live, you have to have specific things, right? Is money any of them? No. Water, over 72 hours. Food, shelter, clothing, healthcare, security, sanitation, utilities, education. Those are what you need, not the bag. So every fool, every talker, every blogger, every journalist, and all of these people, yo, they're keeping you slaves and they're damning your children into slavery. And it will happen in perpetuity if you do not make the definition for yourself. It's clear. And you don't have to agree with me. Again, it's not a point of contention. You don't have to agree. Guess what? The pig needs water and food and shelter. The bird needs water. Every species needs the things that I'm saying, but maybe not your woke ass, huh? Maybe. I know. All you need is charms and crystals and these kinds of things, right? Right? All you need is HBCUs. You need to collect together and dance and sing and lethargic dance, right? That's what you're good for. Is that what you're good for? Reduced to a minstrel or an organ grinder's monkey? Is that all you are? You don't want freedom? Yes, that's all you are.